Welcome to the Star Podcast.
Whoa. Star Podcast.
Welcome to the Star Podcast, hosted by Nat. Each week, we share tips and stories from safety, trucking, and recruitment, and everything in between. Listen now. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of the Star Podcast. Today, I sit down with Russell Raven, and I had the pleasure of meeting Russell when I went up to take some photos and videos of the job readiness program that he was teaching, and he was fantastic. You could tell the students loved him. You could tell he was so engaged and so interested in the students, and it was just a really great experience to witness. So whenever we were speaking, I said, please be on the podcast, because he not only teaches, but he's also a heavy equipment operator himself. So he brings that experience, and he just has some really good stories, and he also incorporates the safety aspect. So I just thought it would be a great episode, and it definitely was. So listen now to Russell. I just wanted to first start off by welcoming you to the show and joining us for a podcast episode. I think it's going to be great.
I'm pleased to be here and anxious to get started on it.
Excellent. So I just hope that we could get started by getting you to share a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, well, a little bit about myself. Russell Raven, corporate trainer. I've been a corporate trainer for several years. I'm originally from Mohawk Six Nations and brought up as a military brat, but live in Sault Ste. Marie, and I enjoy training the digital program that we have. I've done training in gold mines and across Canada, up in Nunavut. I've got quite a bit of experience training. But I also started as an operator when I was very young, worked in a quarry, started from the ground up, got into a machine back in the days when there was no safety. I did that for a few years, and back in those days, a little different. There was no safety regulation. It was just get the job done, and I actually got out of the field. I got a business degree. I ended up going into management, and I ended up trading in tech. I was a manager at a Fortune 500 company one time, so I wore a few different hats.
Absolutely.
But I have a good friend who was telling me the opportunities he was having in the heavy equipment industry in the mines, and at that time, the regulations were you needed your tickets, so on and so forth. So I ended up getting my MGCU sign-offs for all my equipment and my AZ visa at that time, and I went into the mining as a utility operator, so I operated pretty much all the equipment that was on site, and I ended up into the training on site. So it was just a progression that eventually led me into the training department, and I've been doing it for several years now, and I've been traveling across Canada to deliver training, and I've learned quite a bit about what is involved in where there is lapses in the training industry. Being MTCU qualified, there's a level of training and expertise that goes along with it, and the safety aspect of training is pretty much a priority to myself. So I do a lot of training where I prioritize the safety and making sure that people are adequately trained so that they're going to be safe when they do go into office.
You mentioned when you got started that safety maybe wasn't exactly the priority and things may have been a little bit dangerous. Do you think that's one of the reasons why safety is so important to you now, because you saw some things that were maybe not so good?
Yes, well, there were several occasions where it was questionable, and fortunately, I was on the ball enough to realize that no, I'm not going to do that. As a young operator, you don't want to say no to your boss. The limit, you have to say, no, this is unsafe, we can't do that. Fortunately for us in Canada, we had regulations that you have those rights. But back in those days, there were several occasions where it was quite threatening, and actually that's what led me to move to a different industry.
Wow. I mean, it's good, though, that you felt confident enough to speak up for yourself, because I feel like some people don't, and then that's when something might happen.
Well, that's exactly the problem. A lot of times, industry, they're profit-driven, and they need the job done now, And sometimes it's over. And that's where people like myself step in and say, oh, no, this is unsafe. There's only one way to do it safely.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, you touched on it a little bit, but what's the work that you do for NAT? Like specifically, what are you doing?
Presently, I'm working with their training department for heavy equipment, and we're prioritizing some Indigenous training, trying to get some programs set up for youth preparedness, job preparedness, and getting them prepared for what's coming, because there's going to be lots of opportunity in the future. So the location where I am right now, there's a lot of mines in the area, there's a lot of infrastructure work going on, and these are great opportunities for young people to get into that industry, what is expected, and how to keep them safe on the job, properly operate the machines, properly understand the machine. These are the priorities that are going to help them throughout their career. It's pretty meaningful to me because you're setting them up for successful career.
Right. Yeah, I got to meet you. You were doing, it was a job readiness program that was set up, and you were teaching heavy equipment. And it was really, like, it was enjoyable to just watch, because you could see they were operating the equipment and they were starting to get it, and you were teaching them, and you were like so supportive, and it was such an encouraging environment. So it was really nice to see. And then you could see as they like started learning and they knew what to do, like they just kind of lit up. It was really rewarding to watch. So I imagine that it'd be exciting to teach them through that process. So
yes, it is quite gratifying, and I've actually had some students come back and, oh, I did it, which is great.
Yeah, so can you share a little bit about the job readiness program, the heavy equipment, how you like teaching, like if you enjoy the teaching and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so the job readiness program, like I said, we're concentrating on the Indigenous groups right now, and which is near and dear to my heart because I'm Six Nations. And I have dealt with a lot of remote sites, so I did a lot of training for MTO in remote airports and up in the remote mine. And you can see that there's a lot of opportunity there for individuals. Give those communities a real boost.
Talked about how you started from the ground up, which I like, because I think that's an important aspect of your career. Sometimes you want to be here, but you have to start here so you can learn the basics, or you can learn the equipment so that you're able to do all the other jobs. So what advice can you give someone who might want to change careers, or maybe they want to get into heavy equipment or truck driving, that kind of industry?
I highly recommend taking that leap because it is an enjoyable work industry. As an operator, I've been able to travel to areas where most people are never going to be. It opens up a lot of doors, and I actually speak with a lot of my students that are interested in this. The world is your oyster. We live in the north. There's always opportunity for those employees. Job security, and it's a good paying job. Also, you get in with the right location, great opportunity, good money. You can make yourself a very lucrative career.
Excellent. So anyone that's maybe thinking of, they're not sure what they want to do, you'd recommend AZ, DZ training, maybe reaching out to Samantha Clark at Nat Safety and get more information about the job readiness, possibly, or communities that maybe want to set up the program in their community can reach out to Sam as well and talk about that for sure.
Absolutely. And actually, this is one of the main reasons I am with Nat, is because of their commitment, and they're actually very proactive about creating those opportunities for individuals. It's not a business that's just making money. They're actually interested in developing and helping their students. So we help them with getting that job after they're done the training, and creating every opportunity that you can.
Absolutely. Amazing. Any final remarks to anyone that's listening to this?
The opportunity is there. I just see that imperative that individuals take advantage of learning this trade, because it is such a viable trade. I'll just give you a little anecdote. When I was younger, I was told, you don't want to be a ditch digger all your life.
Okay.
But then I found out how much ditch diggers make, and I thought, absolutely.
There you go.
Why I was driven. I was managing, and I went and got a business degree. I figured that's the way you're supposed to do it. I went and got my industry, got into management, and I found out it's not a good fit. But when I got back into the mining industry, into the heavy equipment and the truck, I've run the large haul trucks and all the large machines. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic job. And this digger is worth being it's a good job. That safety service, definitely a good company to be dealing with, because they have the priorities are properly train people, properly get them set up for success. So to me, that's a win-win. And we're working with the Indigenous communities, one of my favorite things to do. Definitely gratifying to be able to go out and teach people and get them set up.
Excellent. Well, you're very good at what you do. Just meeting you briefly and watching you interact with the students, it was very nice to see. You can tell you're very passionate about what you do, and you bring some like humor and some kind of interest to the class. It was really exciting to watch. So it was a pleasure speaking with you, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed listening to this. So thanks so much for joining.
Star Podcast.
Whoa. Star Podcast.